What's going on, guys? Billy Davison here with BillyDavisonVIP.com. I'm going to tell you why the 24-inch General Pump Hammerhead is my favorite surface cleaner. As you see here, we have 3 different size surface cleaners. Each are a General Pump Hammerhead. There'll be a link down in the description to these surface cleaners. In addition, I'll also add a link down in the description and a first pinned comment for a spray tip chart that will help you pick the best spray tips for each surface cleaner. Also, I'm going to give you some information of my opinion on that as well. Starting with the biggest surface cleaner first, we have a 36-inch General Pump surface cleaner with casters. We're going to talk about the spray tips on that as well, and what you could use a 36-inch surface cleaner on, and what equipment is best for a 36-inch surface cleaner. The middle surface cleaner is my favorite. It's the 24-inch General Pump Hammerhead surface cleaner. We're going to turn it over and look at the spray tips on that and tell you why that is my most favorite. And on the far end over here, we have a 20-inch surface cleaner, also made by General Pump Hammerhead. We're going to talk about the uses for that surface cleaner and why that surface cleaner may best fit your pressure washing business. Each of these surface cleaners pretty much operate the same. You have a gun attachment that you attach your pressure hose to, that ultimately your pressure washer will power high pressure water through the gun. As you pull the trigger, it will shoot water down the pressure line into the spinner here, and then ultimately out the spray bar and the spray tips. On this 36-inch surface cleaner, we have a larger spray bar, so it will handle more volume, but we only have 2 spray tips, which is usually fine. Now, the 36-inch surface cleaner is really designed for pressure washers that produce a minimum of 8 gallons per minute. In my opinion, the larger surface cleaner is only used for concrete that isn't really that dirty. In addition, you will have to pre-treat and post-treat using an 8 gallon per minute machine. The larger the surface cleaner you have, the slower the bar will spin, less RPMs because of centrifugal force. The diameter is larger, but the bar does spin slower. So what that means for you, you'll have to walk a little slower with the surface cleaner, but you do cover a larger area. Walking a little slower with the surface cleaner will cause you to clean the surface a little bit better. If you move too fast, it'll leave stripes. You can post-treat that with a sodium hypochlorite around a 3 or 4%, and most of those stripes should go away. Another good practice is to cross-hatch each section of concrete that you're surface cleaning. Basically, what you want to do is do one pass in one direction. Once you finish a section, cross-hatch it in the opposite direction, and then post-treat it with a sodium hypochlorite solution. If the concrete is really severe, you want to pre-treat it as well with a 3% sodium hypochlorite. This is to remove organics. If you're removing oil stains, that'll be another type of treatment that you can find in other videos here on this YouTube channel. And again, the 36-inch surface cleaner will not work well with a 4 gallon per minute machine or either a 5.5 gallon per minute machine. It is best used for an 8 gallon per minute machine or even larger, like a 10 gallon per minute pressure washer. The 36-inch surface cleaner made by General Pump Hammerhead does have its uses, but in my opinion, the best surface cleaner is the 24-inch surface cleaner, and I'm going to show you that next. Here we see the 24-inch surface cleaner. Something a little bit different about this one. This one has 3 spray tips. Now, the bar is a little bit smaller than the 36-inch. Again, this is a 24-inch. It still has the casters, just like the larger one, but it has 3 spray tips. Now, you're going to have to remember this whenever you sizing these spray tips for your particular machine. On an 8 gallon per minute machine, usually I recommend a 1503. The 15 is the angle of the spray pattern coming out of the spray tips. The 03 is the gallons per minute that each spray tip will allow to escape. Whenever you're using an 8 gallon per minute pressure washer, what I like to do is throttle the machine up completely at 100% power and then check my bypass line back into my buffer tank. If that bypass line is bleeding out water into the buffer tank, that probably means you need to go a larger size with your spray tips. There's too much resistance for the unloader to push it through the spray tips. There again, it wants to bypass it back into the buffer tank. And the reason why we want to open up our spray tips, use a little bit larger spray tips, because we want to utilize every gallon of water that we can. If we bypassing it back into the tank, that is a waste of power and cleaning power that we're just not utilizing. Using larger spray tips should solve that problem. But it's real important to have someone pull the trigger on your surface cleaner while your pressure washer is powered up at 100%, and you go hop on top of the buffer tank and see if you have any water bypassing back into the buffer tank as the surface cleaner is being operated. And again, if you do, just go with larger spray tips. So if we push in 8 gallons per minute or more at 100% power on our pressure washer, we want to size these tips appropriately. We usually use a 2503 in this surface cleaner. The 25, again, is the angle of the spray pattern, so it's a little bit wider spray pattern. The 03 times 3 gives us 9 gallons per minute. And if we find that we bypass them back in the buffer tank, I'll put 2504s, which would allow 12 gallons per minute out of these 3 spray tips. Now, obviously, our pressure washer is not pushing 12 gallons per minute, but we still are utilizing every drop of water that the pressure washer is powering out. And I've timed it and measured it with a 24-inch surface cleaner at 8 gallons per minute. If I pre-treat the concrete with a sodium hypochlorite, I can do about 6,000 square feet per hour. That's surface cleaning and rinsing it off afterwards. Guys, you can make some big money surface cleaning. We get paid by the square foot. 6,000 square feet per hour is a really good paycheck. And if you have a larger parking lot like you see here, you can really knock this thing out quite rapidly. Let me also say, if you're looking to get more information how I find larger pressure washing jobs, I'll put a link in the comment to my training page. Also, there'll be a link in the description where we go over a lot of these techniques, how you can find a lot of this work in your area. People are looking for you. You're looking for them. Y'all just need to match up. And I'll show you a lot of great techniques, how you can find them, they can find you with very low budget on your marketing cost. And check out BillyDavisonVIP.com for more information. And each one of my students gets access to our mentorship with phone calls, emails, and text messages where we can help you on particular situations, help bid out certain jobs. So if you're a member of the BillyDavisonVIP.com courses, feel free to text me. My phone number's on that website. Right here, last but not least, we have a 20-inch General Pump hammerhead. I love this little thing. This thing is not really designed to do very large parking lots, especially if you're pushing an 8 gallon per minute pressure washer or more. Now, if you're using a 4 or a 5 gallon per minute pressure washer, this 20 inch is going to be great. It also has 2 spray tips, and you got to realize at 8 gallons per minute, this thing is want to hover. It's kind of lightweight, it's easy, it's nimble, it's easy to move around, it's easy to carry. We usually use this one on dumpster pads. This thing cleans dumpster pads incredible. At 8 gallons per minute, only 2 spray tips. This thing's put some power down to the ground. This was really great for heavily soiled concrete, like in dumpster pads, restaurant sidewalks. This will get down and dirty. This thing will get down and remove the dirt and grime in a hurry. But there again, you're only covering 20 inches, and oftentimes I can't utilize my pressure washer at 100% because this thing wants to fly away. Yes, I could add some weights to it, but generally speaking, I use it in smaller confined area because it's smaller and more nimble and lightweight. Now, I do change out the spray tips often depending on my application. On this surface cleaner, I'm running 25s, 04s. 25 is the angle of spray pattern. The 04 is the gallons per minute per spray tip. So we have 2 spray tips. 4 times 2 is 8. So we can put out 8 gallons per minute with this surface cleaner. So guys, just to recap, I know there's a lot of information. You could feel free to rewind and go back over it. But to recap, the 36-inch surface cleaner is good for very large jobs if you're going to pre-treat and post-treat, and only if you're using 8 gallons per minute or more. Remember to size those spray tips perfectly, or either you will have a lot of stripes. And even with the 36-inch surface cleaner, it's recommended to cross-hatch each section twice. And the 24-inch surface cleaner, the one sitting there in the middle, is my most favorite. It is good for sidewalks. It's good for large parking lots. You don't necessarily have to pre-treat every time, but I do recommend post-treating and also making 2 passes on each piece of concrete that you're intended on cleaning. And again, last but not least, the 20-inch surface cleaner. I call this the little guy. It has its place. Otherwise, I wouldn't have purchased it. You know, it does clean a lot of dumpster pads for us, heavily soiled sidewalks and around restaurants. It's lightweight, it's nimble, it's very powerful, and it's worth its weight in gold too as well. But you're gonna have to have a couple surface cleaners whenever pressure washing, commercial, residential pressure washing jobs, one for each application. Now, also, in my opinion, if there was one surface cleaner I wouldn't have on the truck, if my funds were low or if I didn't have the budget for it, I would pick the 36-inch surface cleaner to delete and eliminate that. Now, if you got the budget for it, it's good to have around for special applications. But if you can only get two right now and you're running 8 gallons per minute, delete the 36-inch, get the 24-inch and the 20-inch, and that should get you through just about any pressure washing job you're going to run into. Again, guys, I'm Billy Davison here with BillyDavisonVIP.com. If this video has been helpful, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we hope to see you in the next video.